Tennessee is sniffing around with some Big Ten quarterbacks. Let's talk about it. Hey, and welcome into the Big Ten Huddle. Let's talk about the Tennessee Volunteers and how currently they are sniffing around with a few Big Ten quarterbacks, one of them being Luke Altmyer of Illinois. So obviously, if you've not been living under a rock, you're aware of what is going on right now. I just did a video about it just the other day where Nico was scheduled to go to UCLA, or was thought that he was going to go to UCLA, but then there was also some concern there with what might happen. Well, Nico made it official. He is in fact going to UCLA now. He is committed, and that is a done deal. He's going there. That means Tennessee knew this for a little while, but that means Tennessee is for sure going to go after some quarterbacks around the country to see if they're going to come to them. What is the other major conference that has quarterbacks in it that they could go after? It's the Big Ten. Now, the ACC might have some as well. There's a couple G5 guys that they've been looking at too. But for the most part, the Big Ten has a number of returning quarterbacks this season, and they also have some quarterbacks and quarterback battles that they could go after. So these are not quarterbacks like, Austin Novosad or somebody like that. We are looking at quarterbacks that are currently not in the portal that are starters or projected to start at their Big Ten programs, and Luke Altmyer fits the bill for this one. Now, if you've been following Illinois football, unfortunately for them, they just lost Josh McCray to the transfer portal a few days ago. And then he just committed to going to Georgia. So if you are an Illinois fan, this is something you're concerned about. I'm going to reassure you a little bit in this video, but at the same time, I'm also not going to give you any guarantees and say you're completely out of the woods yet, because it is Tennessee, and they were paying Nico anywhere from $2.2 to $2.5 million, and that is a big thing to just say goodbye to, right? So if they are, in fact, diverting that money and using it on another quarterback, that's going to be a very difficult decision for that quarterback to say, no, I'll pass on that money and stay with my current school. And that's what Luke Altmyer wants to do. He wants to pass on the option to Tennessee and stay with Illinois, but there has been no public commitment. There's been no commitment to the staff that he's going to stay there. If Tennessee has decided that they want to offer Luke Altmyer something in that range, that would be very difficult for him to turn down. Now, Illinois would obviously need to get their NIL together and offer something that is at least competitive to what Tennessee is offering, which I think if Illinois does, I think Luke Altmyer is going to stay in that situation. But Tennessee is definitely interested here. They are definitely actively pursuing non-SEC quarterbacks because of the weird transfer portal rule that they have, and Luke Altmyer is one we need to be watching for sure. Now, Illinois has done a good job of bolstering up their wide receivers and their offensive line, and it does help that Illinois is entering into the season not with returning talent like Ohio State or Michigan the past couple years, but still a lot of returning talent. 18 starters from that bowl game are returning, and that is huge for Illinois in this situation. There is also some stuff going on behind the scenes, like NBC, I know, is doing a documentary right now, I think, on Luke Altmyer and kind of what he's done for local charity and stuff and things that he's doing for the community. So this is a situation where Luke Altmyer would really, if he leaves Illinois, it would not just impact the team, but it would impact the community, stuff like that. And I think that's another factor that adds to this that is more in Illinois' favor for him potentially staying. Now, if you listen to ESPN and all these people talk about this, if this gets to the national news scene, they're going to talk about the leverage of the SEC. And this is definitely something that Tennessee is trying to talk about right now with all of these different quarterbacks. I have no idea if it's been said to Luke Altmyer in particular, but I know this is something they're trying to use as leverage and saying the SEC, the premier conference, yada, yada, yada. Like, folks, this is exactly why I think Big Ten fans need to be rooting for Big Ten football. I'm not saying root for your rival, but I am saying root for Big Ten football, because Luke Altmyer is in a situation right now where if he can say, like, the Big Ten just won the past 2 national championships. The Big Ten has not lost the SEC in the playoffs. They've not lost to a conference that's not the Big Ten in the playoffs the past 2 years. the Big Ten has dominated college football. Sure, there's some regular season losses here and there. Michigan didn't fare so well against Texas early on in the year. I get that. But when it's mattered most, the playoffs and winning national championships, like, congratulations, SEC. You got a deep conference. Like, we've been talking about deep conference forever now, and that never meant anything. So why should it mean anything for you now? It shouldn't, but that's what they're going to try to leverage as is. We have the post draft picks and yada yada. Well, you know what? You don't have very good coaches. We have better coaches than you. We have better development than you. It just is what it is. Sorry, not trying to turn this into a rail on the SEC segment, but it's true. The SEC does not have the leverage they once had with using their conference, their competition, and stuff like that. The Big Ten has much more leverage now in that area, not just with winning games and winning national championships, but Oregon, USC, UCLA, and Washington, surprisingly for some people. If you watch our draft primer episode that we just did with Jeff, that was huge, and that really showed a lot of how much those four programs help in getting NFL draft picks as well to help bolster up the conference. So the conference is being bolstered up. You don't have to worry about the SEC leverage as much anymore as you once did, and that is a huge thing for Illinois in this situation. It's exactly why we as Big Ten fans need to be rooting for the Big Ten, not just in, games against the SEC that we hate, but just in general, bowl games, playoffs, stuff like that. I get it if it's your rival. I hate my rival too. I'm not going to root for them. I get it. But anyway, let's go through some of the pros and cons for Luke Altmyer, and then we'll get to our second quarterback that could possibly be going to Tennessee. I don't think this team would be as concerned about losing him, but that's just my opinion. Let's talk about it. So the pros at staying at Illinois, just talked about a few of them. Starting QB spot is definitely Luke Altmyer's. There's no question there. The offensive support with the wide receivers and the offensive line. He did lose Josh McCray. We'll see if maybe Illinois could go and get a running back, but I think that Illinois is also confident and Valentine and some of the other running backs behind him that can come up, step up and do that job. And as long as the run blocking is good in front of them, which, like I said, they just bolstered up the offensive line, that should help with it as well. Luke Altmyer, he's not a mercenary or anything like that. It's not like this is his first year coming in to start. This is going to be Luke Altmyer's third year starting at Illinois. So he has a strong relationship with the staff. He has a positive team culture that he's building. Bret Bielema is the talk of college football, kind of the dark horse coach right now in college football that not a lot of people are paying attention to, but people are definitely acknowledging his involvement with the community that I said before. He avoids trying to restart a program, and I know Tennessee just made the playoffs this past year, but let's be honest about where Tennessee is at as a program right now. They do not have the wide receivers that many people look at and say, like, oh wow, these are amazing. I know Illinois doesn't necessarily have that either, but why would you go someplace else when you already have good relationships, good staff, all that stuff that I just mentioned before, when there's no clear upgrade there? And also, in addition to that, I know Nico, like we people dogged him, and me as well, for using the excuse of like the offense and stuff like that, but there's really no incentive there for like, yeah, this is a much better offense that's going to get you ready for the NFL. It's a one read offense where NFL scouts are going to look at that and say, okay, you made the read, good job, but what happens when the read isn't there? And Tennessee quarterbacks don't thrive well under that. We've seen what happened with Hendon Hooker when he got to the league. I think he had an injury, so I guess I shouldn't put that too much on him. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. So there are some cons possibly to staying in Illinois that need to be considered. I'm not saying these would be cons to me, but they just need to be considered and they need to be pointed out. The potential NIL opportunity at Tennessee, is most likely greater than what is at Illinois. It's not to say Illinois is a bad program that doesn't have NIL, but Illinois puts a whole lot more stock into their basketball program than some other ones do. And then also, Illinois is not known for having as many NIL resources as a program like Tennessee is. I don't think they just have $2.5 million sitting around for a quarterback to come in. Legitimately, Tennessee does have that much money just sitting around that they have not paid to Nico and that they can use on others. And then also, if he buys into the whole SEC talk, that's a con of staying at Illinois. But again, I don't even want to get into that because it's such a stupid point, but it's something that's going to be talked about. So the pros of leaving for Tennessee, I guess the financial, I guess those are like the same things we just talked about. So yeah, I don't need to mention those. So that's the Luke Altmyer talk there. Let's move on to the next one really fast. All right, the other quarterback to talk about is Joey Aguilar at UCLA. There is a possibility here that UCLA and Tennessee could just do a quarterback swap, right? Currently, Joey Aguilar is the quarterback at UCLA. He's likely going to lose the starting job due to Nico Iamaleava's commitment to them. However, I think there are some things here that need to be talked about that maybe not everybody realizes. Some people just think like, oh, dude comes in and takes your starting job, might as well leave and go to the place that he was at. I think it's a little bit different than that. Let's talk about this. Tennessee is a school that would definitely be interested in Joey Aguilar. There's not been any reporting on that or anything, but he would be somebody that would come in and compete for the job at Tennessee. I don't think Tennessee would throw $2.5 million at him like they would at Luke Altmyer. However, he is somebody that I think would get a good amount of NIL to possibly come over there. However, it may not be as much as he's making at UCLA, right? He may be offered NIL to say, yeah, come in, compete, and if you win the job, you get more. But our dude's going to want to do that. Are they going to leave guaranteed NIL money, which it sounds like that's what Joey Aguilar has, is he has a binding NIL deal right now with guaranteed money. Whether he is the starting quarterback or not, I don't know how you get that deal. I would think if you're UCLA, you would say, we're only going to pay you if you play as the starting quarterback for us. But maybe that was one of the things that led Joey Aguilar to come to UCLA. Not really sure. However, in this scenario, excuse me, in this scenario, I do know that the financial piece is more of a component here than maybe some people realize. And Joey Aguilar leaving UCLA actually could help them more to pay Nico Iamaleava, and that could be a piece of what could have helped Joey or helped Nico commit if they know Joey is moving on. Now, I don't think they know that yet. It's been reported by Bruin Report over at 24/7 that there is going to be a meeting that happens with Joey and the coaches on Monday. Maybe Joey already knows, and that meeting is less about what are we doing going from here and more about Joey saying, paying my NIL before I go. We'll see. But there has been reports that from Bruin Report that Tino Sunseri has had a really good relationship with Joey Aguilar this spring as well. So, I mean, maybe he feels confident in the relationship he has with Tino Sunseri. Maybe he says, I'm going to beat him out. Maybe he sticks around. I mean, it's not completely unheard of, and it would make some sense, right? If Tennessee's not going to offer him a much bigger NIL deal, like, why leave? Why, if you're going to make money your last year there, why not leave if you care about UCLA at all and you want to see them win? Go in, be the backup, be the best damn backup you can be, and try to help this team win games. I don't know. It's a really interesting situation. I don't think this is as cut and dry of Nico comes in, Joey leaves right away, as some people think. Now, I think we'll know tomorrow. If Joey doesn't enter the transfer portal tomorrow being Monday, I'm recording this really late at night, so it's basically Monday already here. Monday, if Joey doesn't enter the transfer portal Monday, then I would say that maybe is a good sign that he's going to stick around. But I would say he most likely does enter it on Monday, even with the whole NIL stuff, because I think at the end of the day, Tennessee is going to want to try to bring somebody in to at least increase competition in the room, and Joey could at least be that guy for that. But it's also possible that he waits because he doesn't have insurance from Tennessee. And does he want to go into the portal if he doesn't have insurance? But there's also other options out there as well. So I think he probably would just go ahead and enter in. South Alabama's looking for a quarterback. North Carolina's looking for a quarterback. You could always go someplace else and compete. Tulane, I think, is the school that he is meeting with later on as well. Tulane also looking for one. So we'll see what happens. And it's also possible he just waits until spring ball is over. Well, I guess he can't wait for that because portal closes on Tuesday. I think it is the 22nd. So he would have to decide by Tuesday the 22nd, but he can always enter and then still come back. So there is a possibility there that DeShaun Foster says, yes, you can enter and continue to practice with the team and still have the ability to come back. So let's look at some of the pros and cons here. For Joey Aguilar, guaranteed NIL payment for the 2025 season. It is financial security. It's something that he can draw back on. Just because he loses the starting job does not mean he gets paid less, does not mean he does not get paid at all. Worked out well with an NIL deal there that he's going to make money regardless. So if you're going to make more money from UCLA getting what they thought was starter money, than being at Tennessee where you compete and maybe get starter money. We'll see. He is familiar with UCLA system. He could be one of those dudes that's just super confident in himself. He has been a dude that has rose up in his career. I forget where he was at before App State, but he was at some place, went to App State, won the job there. Coming up to UCLA, he could be one of these guys with just a super competitive fire and just says, you know what, screw it. I'm going to stick around. I'm going to win this job and tell this Nico Iamaleava guy to kick rocks, which if he does, I mean, I think that's good for UCLA if that happens. Not to say you don't want Nico, but that means you got a real gamer on your team that's going to do anything he can to win. And I just love quarterbacks like that personally. He does reduce the risk of possibly going someplace, maybe getting money there at a group of five, but he wasn't as good as maybe some people think, and then he doesn't play at all. You leave for a group of five, you take less money, you don't even play because maybe you don't work as well there with the system, you don't work as well there with the staff, and then also some of these group of five situations, you're going into a place where they probably already have a guy that they think is the starting quarterback or close to it. The cons of staying at UCLA. He's likely regarded as a backup, I would think here. I don't think Nico Iamaleava is going to lose the job here. Maybe he comes in, he's too much of a diva, and they go with Joey Aguilar. I mean, it is a player's coach and DeShaun Foster, so he could be one of those people that just really goes with whoever he thinks is the gamer and does it. But I got to think after last season, DeShaun Foster probably got a little bit of pressure from the administration and the higher ups to play the best player, and Nico is your best player there, most likely, or at least the most notable national player. Limited opportunity to grow, visibility for the NFL, and even if you're not going to the NFL, XFL, different leagues like that, if you don't start your last year, you're not going to do that. You're not going to go to those leagues, most likely. And he could it basically just all comes down to the starting job, the depth chart, everything like that. So, what do you guys think? You think Luke Altmyer should stick around at Illinois? You think he is going to be too enticed by what Tennessee possibly has to offer? You think Joey Aguilar is somebody that is going to move on, or you think he sticks around, tries to compete for the job? It's going to be really interesting. Really excited to see these two situations play out, and we'll keep you covered here on the Big Ten Huddle. Like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. We appreciate it.